Do you dream of creating an urban homestead, but you're uncertain that you'll have enough time to manage everything? Or are you overwhelmed and anxious about where to start and where to put things? I am in the same boat as you. I balanced my kids, my job, and everything else that goes along with life, and was still able to create an abundant oasis on 1/10 of an acre. And you can too. What's crazy is I've been able to do this in just 4 years' time, meeting most of our family's needs right here in my city lot. We're self-sufficient in tomatoes and winter squash, all of the herbs and leafy greens, some of our fruit needs with bananas and papayas and all sorts of tropical fruit trees. I've shared homestead tours each year to give you guys an idea of what can be done in a short period of time and in a small space. This year, I'm going to be highlighting some of the changes we've made over the past year that have created more abundance while minimizing our inputs into the garden. Come on in and let's take a look. In this modern world, time is of the essence, and I just don't have enough of it. I knew now that we had the foundations laid the first couple of years that I really needed to focus on automation. That is why we really focused on creating 3 things within our homestead that allowed us to maintain that production without compromising our time. Water is crucial to plants' survival, and while it can be totally meditative to sit out there in the morning and water your plants, I also don't have the time to do that every single morning. There are seasonal fluctuations here, but a huge chunk of my time spent in the garden was doing nothing but watering. So we decided to put in an automated irrigation system. When we designed the property, I tried to put all of the plants that needed consistent watering all in one location so that I'm not running all over the yard trying to water here and there. That was built in from the beginning, but I still had to water the raised bed garden area and a few select spots for the fruit trees. When we put in this, I was able to do zones depending on where it is in the landscape, and I can also program depending on the season, whether it needs 2 days a week or 4 days a week. All of that is right here, so I don't have to think about it. If I'm busy, if I'm on vacation, it's taking care of itself. Greenstalks have always been my favorite way to garden in small spaces, but the weakest point for them was the watering. I couldn't interconnect it with my automated watering system in a great way. The pipes always came out and there was tripping hazards all over the place. It kind of worked, but it definitely didn't work well. They just came out with an automated watering kit for the Greenstalks, which I am super stoked to put on because that'll just solve so many problems where we were kind of trying to make do until the meantime. And it comes with a leaf excluder device, so no more having to fish leaves out of the water reservoir at the top. I have a code, Urban Harvest, that will give you $10 off your order regardless of whether it's a new tower or just parts and pieces. I have a link down below for you. Another time commitment that I had on the homestead was taking care of the chickens. Now, we initially designed our coop and run to be all one, so I had already eliminated the need for me to go out and open the coop door for them and close them in every night, but we still had to come feed them. We had to collect eggs. We had to bring them fresh, clean water. So we have automated all of that now. We have an automated watering system so that they get fresh, clean water every day, no chance of running out. We have a roll-away nest box that can collect the eggs out of the nest box. They're not sitting on them, crushing them, potentially eating them or any of that. And we got a big bin feeder for them, so instead of us having to come out every single morning, the food is already there waiting for them. With these automations, we can now spend a week away from home and not have to have anybody come take care of our chickens, let alone us with our busy lives. I did do a tour of a bunch of different chicken coops for you to get different ideas on what would work well for you and your space. So if you're interested in that, head on down below to the show notes and I'll have a link for you. The third automation that we put in place isn't technically an automation, it's more of improving or creating things that are more efficient. So this past year, we upgraded our raised bed gardens, and I love them. But the main purpose was because I almost doubled the depth of the soil, and it has thicker metals. So the soil isn't heating up as much, I have to water less, I have to put less nutrients into it, so the plants are happier and healthier, and it's less time management and input from me. Another thing I love about these beds is not only can I sit, but I can stand to harvest the beans off the trellis or to wade my way through the garden in the rainy season overgrowth. If you want to get your own Hopkins Hidden Homestead beds, I will have a link down in the show notes for you, and the code Urban Harvest will get you 5% off your entire order. Before we get into my last big time-saving piece of the puzzle, I wanted to show you a few things that are filling in and flourishing here on the homestead. The Jamaican cherry tree grew from a 12-inch sprig into this bountiful shade tree in just 3 years. The passion fruit produced over 200 fruit in its second year for me. The fedge is filling in nicely within a year of being planted and produced 30 pounds of sweet potatoes last season. We harvested our first cherry of the Rio Grande, Meyer Lemon, and Sapodilla from it this past year. That's 8 fruit trees, plus numerous annual veggies and beneficial insect flowers in just under 200 square feet. The first 3 automations I shared with you save a ton of time, but honestly take more money than skill or knowledge. The last tip that I'm going to share, which saves me a ton of time, is more knowledge-based. Years ago, I took a PDC course, permaculture design course, and learned about how to create systems within my environment. And it has been key to allowing me to remove myself from that and allow nature to do its work. I don't have to worry about the pests taking out my garden because all of those beneficial insects and natural environment things are taking care of it for me. It may sound like fantasy to have nature take care of the garden for you, but if designed well, it is 100% true. I've seen personally myself on this homestead how much has changed over just the past 4 years. This past year, we got certified as a wildlife habitat by the National Wildlife Federation. From the get-go, 4 years ago, we started planting native wildflowers, putting in water sources, making sure our environment was non-toxic. As you can see, it's 100% feasible to be able to have a modern homestead and still do all of the things that our modern society demands of us. Now, if you want to know my 3 must-have plants for every Florida landscape, make sure to check out this video next.